Before moving on to the main topic of this video, I would like to note that a few minutes ago, the Russian military department published another footage of the destruction of the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine and the so-called foreign mercenaries with the help of guided aerial bombs of the Fab family, in the Kharkiv direction of the front. Unfortunately for the Ukrainian army and NATO forces, Russia is not only increasing the number of aerial bombs used on the battlefield, but also their nomenclature and types. It is reliably known that as of June 25, 2024, Russian troops are using such guided aerial bombs as Fab 250, Fab 500, and Fab 1500 against Ukrainian army and NATO forces. At the same time, it is worth noting that heavy-duty aerial bomb Fab 3000 has also been added to this list, which has already been used by the Russian aerospace forces about 3 times on the battlefield, destroying dozens of Ukrainian and NATO militants. Moreover, it is reliably known that the Russian military has also begun testing in Ukraine such heavy-duty aerial bombs as Fab 5000 and Fab 9000, with completely new guided planning and correction modules. This fresh footage shows how Russian Fab 1500 aerial bombs are literally erasing the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine and foreign mercenaries from the face of the earth, in a forest belt near the city of Volchansk, Kharkiv region. According to the Russian military department, as a result of this bomb attack, more than 50 Ukrainian militants were killed, including foreign mercenaries from such countries as the United States, Poland, Canada, and France. At the same time, it is worth noting that the frequent use of aerial bombs of the Fab family by Russian troops has led to the fact that the favorite tactic of war of the Ukrainian army has completely lost its effectiveness. Now, because of the Russian heavy-duty aerial bombs of the Fab family, the armed forces of Ukraine can no longer establish effective strongholds on the territories of factories and multi-story buildings. Meanwhile, a few hours ago, the American reconnaissance drone MQ-4 Global Hawk disappeared from radar screens during its next mission over the Black Sea, several hundred kilometers from Crimea. Immediately after this incident, reputable Russian telegram channels officially announced that the Russian aerospace forces destroyed an American reconnaissance drone during the conducting of a frightening campaign. As it turned out, the US military lost exactly the same reconnaissance drone MQ-4 Global Hawk, which a few days ago adjusted the flight route of American ATACMS ballistic missiles during the attack on Sevastopol, as a result of which more than 150 people were injured, 5 of whom died on the spot. According to a military expert and a former Russian Air Force pilot, known as Fighter Bomber, the American reconnaissance drone MQ-4 Global Hawk was destroyed by a MiG-31 two-seat supersonic all-weather long-range interceptor. At the same time, the expert noted that the crew of the Russian fighter jet did not shoot down the American drone using missiles and other means of destruction. He hinted that the MiG-31 had deliberately flown at high speed over an American drone, which at that moment was at an extreme altitude of 17 kilometers above the ground. As a result of these actions, the American drone got into turbulence and the operators lost control of it, as a result of which it crashed into the neutral waters of the Black Sea, several hundred kilometers from the Crimea. Other Russian telegram channels also confirmed this information. Citing their own sources in the Russian military department, they declared that the crew of the Russian MiG-31 fighter jet has already been presented with state awards. Commenting on this situation, experts noted that Russia is acting very cunningly, realizing that the destruction of American drones over neutral waters in this way does not formally violate international law. The most the Americans can do in response to Russia's actions is to accuse the Russian pilots of unprofessionalism. At the same time, it is worth noting that this is a rather dangerous situation. The fact is that if Russia continues to destroy American unmanned aerial vehicles over the neutral waters of the Black Sea in this way, it could lead to a real escalation. However, seeing how American drones, even while over the neutral waters of the Black Sea, constantly transmit intelligence data to the Ukrainian army and NATO forces for attacks on the Crimean Peninsula and Krasnodar territory, it becomes clear that Russia will not tolerate this anymore. Moreover, many experts are confident that if the United States continues to send its unmanned aerial vehicles and AWACS aircraft into the neutral airspace of the Black Sea, in order to continue collecting data for subsequent missile and drone attacks on Crimea and the Russian border regions, Moscow may unilaterally introduce a no-fly zone over the Black Sea. By the way, the recent incident with the most expensive American drone Northrop Grumman MQ-4C TRITON proved once again that Russia takes this very seriously. Let me remind you that a few days ago, this American drone worth $180 million sent a distress signal while flying in the sky over the Black Sea, near the Russian Sochi and Novorossiysk. Despite all attempts by American operators to save the expensive drone, it failed to reach its base and crashed into the Black Sea off the coast of Romania. Later, Pentagon officials said that the drone's electronics were disabled allegedly because of a direct lightning hit. At the same time, the US military claims that the MQ-4C TRITON allegedly managed to reach the base in Sicily. However, military experts questioned the veracity of the words of the Pentagon representatives. The fact is that American UH-60M helicopters are still searching the surface of the water, not far from the coast of Romania. Experts are sure that American helicopters are looking for the wreckage of the MQ-4C TRITON drone. In addition, experts noted that the Americans lost their most expensive drone on the very day when Western countries allowed the armed forces of Ukraine to use their weapons against targets in Russia. Moreover, as it turned out, a few minutes before the operators lost control of the drone, a Russian MiG-31 fighter jet was spotted a few kilometers away from it. Experts are confident that the MiG-31 attacked an American drone using a previously unknown electronic warfare system, as a result of which all the electronics of this drone completely burned down.